Ever feel like no matter how many videos you upload, the money just doesn't match your effort? You're not lazy, and it's not your content. The truth is, YouTube pays creators very differently depending on audience, niche, and strategy, and most people don't even realize it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create a USA-based channel that actually earns, the settings you must enable, the niche that's exploding right now, and the step-by-step method to build content that both audiences and the platform can't ignore. By the end, you'll know how to stop leaving money on the table and start positioning your channel for maximum revenue. Without guessing, without shortcuts, and without wasting months of effort. Chapter 1. You feel the gap before you see it. Have you ever looked at two numbers and felt insulted? Not confused, just quietly insulted? You did the work. You showed up. You uploaded. And still, the reward feels off. This is not jealousy. This is awareness. When you see one creator earn in a currency that breathes freely, and another suffocates on effort alone, something inside you sharpens. Not anger, calculation. You begin to sense a pattern beneath the surface. And patterns once seen cannot be unseen. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Platforms don't reward effort, they reward position. Geography is not just land. It is value. Attention priced differently depending on where the eyes come from. This isn't moral. It's mechanical. A study on behavioral economics by Thaler in 2015 showed that humans often mistake fairness for equality. They are not the same. Systems don't care about fairness. They care about efficiency. YouTube is not unfair. It is indifferent. And indifference is colder than injustice. This might sound harsh, but it's freeing. Because once you accept that the system isn't against you, only blind to you, you stop complaining and start repositioning. Marcus Aurelius said that the obstacle becomes the way. Not because the obstacle moves, but because you do. Most creators stay trapped at the surface. They argue numbers, views, luck, algorithms. But the real game is played underneath. Audience psychology, advertiser value, cultural demand. Quiet levers. Invisible gears. You're not underpaid. You're underpositioned. And that realization is the beginning of strategy, not motivation. Sit with that for a second. Because once you see the gap clearly, you stop asking why me, and start asking where should I stand instead. Chapter 2. You're not paid for views. You're paid for attention quality. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you noticed that not all views feel the same? Some views pass through like strangers. Others stay, listen, decide, buy. The platform knows the difference even if you don't. YouTube doesn't reward popularity. It rewards economic attention. That's the part most creators never slow down enough to understand. A view from one place carries weight. From another, it's almost symbolic. Same screen, same ad, different value. This is where many people get stuck emotionally. They see numbers rising, effort compounding, comments increasing, and expect money to follow automatically. That belief is innocent, but it's wrong. A psychological study on advertising effectiveness by Kahneman in 2011 showed that decision-making is deeply tied to cultural spending habits, not intelligence. It's not about how smart the viewer is. It's about how trained they are to spend. This is not an attack on any audience. This is economics meeting psychology. Advertisers don't pay for eyeballs. They pay for buying intent. And intent is shaped by environment, income levels, cultural norms, consumer conditioning. Sun Tzu warned that battles are decided before they are fought. This is one of those battles. When you upload without thinking about who is watching, you're playing roulette with effort. Sometimes you win views. Rarely you win leverage. Stoicism teaches something brutal but useful. Don't demand the world adapt to you. Adapt your strategy to the world as it is. Once you accept this, your mindset shifts. You stop chasing virality blindly. You start designing content like a strategist, not an artist waiting to be discovered. This might sound cold. It is, but clarity always feels cold before it feels powerful. You don't need more motivation. You need alignment. Chapter 3. Language is not the barrier. Identity is. Be honest with yourself for a moment. Did you really believe English was the key? Most creators do. They switch the language, keep the mindset, and expect a different outcome. When it doesn't happen, they blame the algorithm. But algorithms don't misunderstand you. They reflect you. This might sound uncomfortable, but here it is. Audiences don't connect to language first. They connect to identity, tone, assumptions, rhythm, the silent agreement between creator and viewer about how the world works. A media psychology study by Hall in 2018 found that audiences subconsciously favor content that mirrors their cultural self-image, even when the information is identical. Same message, different framing, completely different response. This is why simply making videos in English fails. The words may be correct, but the posture is wrong. You speak like a guest, not a native, and attention senses that instantly. Nietzsche wrote that style is the answer to the question of who you are. Not what you say, but how you say it. The pauses, the confidence, the unspoken certainty. When you target a foreign audience, you're not translating words, you're translating worldview. Humor changes. Examples change. Even silence changes. What feels respectful in one culture feels insecure in another. This is where most creators unknowingly sabotage themselves. They try to please everyone so no one feels spoken to. Stoicism doesn't teach imitation. It teaches observation. Watch first. Absorb patterns. Speak only after you understand the room. The moment you stop trying to sound global and start sounding specific, your content sharpens. The algorithm follows clarity, not effort. Chapter 4. The system doesn't test you. It profiles you. Let me ask you something most people avoid. Do you think YouTube is judging your content or studying your behavior? Because those are not the same. The moment you create a channel, the system starts observing in silence. Not your talent, your choices, your settings, your early signals. What you select tells the platform who you are before you upload anything meaningful. This is where myths spread fast. Use a VPN. Verify with foreign numbers. Pretend to be somewhere else. This is short-term thinking disguised as cleverness. Platforms don't reward deception. They reward consistency. A study on digital trust systems by Ms. Love in 2019 found that long-term monetization stability correlates more with behavioral coherence than geographic tricks. In simple words, if your actions don't match your intent, the system hesitates to push you. Think like a stoic here. You don't control the rules. You control how cleanly you move within them. Channel settings are not technical chores. They are psychological signals. Category choice, language defaults, verification steps. Each one narrows your identity. The system doesn't ask, is this creator good? It asks, who is this creator for? Sun Tzu warned against winning through noise. Quiet preparation wins wars. Same here. Many creators rush to upload, driven by impatience. But impatience leaks data, confuses the profile. The algorithm doesn't punish you. It delays trust. This might sound boring. It is, and boring is powerful. You don't need to lie about where you are. You need to be precise about where you're aiming. Once the system understands your direction, it does what systems do best. Amplify. Chapter 5. Waiting is not laziness. It's calibration. Let me ask you something simple but sharp. Why does stillness make you uneasy? The channel is created. The setup is done. And yet, the urge to upload immediately starts burning. Most creators call this hunger. In reality, it's anxiety. This might sound counterintuitive, but early restraint matters. Platforms learn fastest when you move slowly at the beginning. A cognitive systems study by Anderson in 2020 showed that initial data patterns disproportionately shape long-term categorization in machine learning models. First impressions don't fade easily, even for machines. Uploading too fast isn't ambition. It's noise. Stoicism teaches voluntary restraint. Not because action is bad, but because timing decides whether action becomes force or friction. Seneca warned that hurry is the enemy of depth. In digital systems, hurry also confuses intent. When you wait those first few days, the system watches without interference. Your channel breathes. Metadata settles. The identity sharpens quietly. This is not mystical. It's procedural. Most people can't tolerate this phase. They feel unproductive, invisible, useless. But this discomfort is revealing. It shows how dependent we are on immediate feedback. Here's the deeper layer. Audiences sense rushed creators. Desperation leaks through tone, pacing, even topic choice. Calm creators feel grounded. Grounded creators feel trustworthy. Trust compounds. This is not about gaming the algorithm. It's about aligning your nervous system before you speak. You're not delaying success. You're removing friction from it. Chapter 6. Some niches don't shout. They pull. Let me ask you something quietly dangerous. Have you noticed which content follows you home? Not the loud stuff. Not the flashy edits. The videos that stay with you sit in the mind like unfinished thoughts. That's not accidental. That's psychology. Certain niches don't rely on trends. They rely on tension. Human tension never expires. Self-improvement, relationship dynamics, emotional patterns between men and women. These topics don't go viral because they're new. They spread because they touch something unresolved. A behavioral study on media engagement by Baumeister in 2019 found that people are more likely to repeatedly consume content that explains their internal conflicts rather than external events. News informs. Psychology hooks. This is why these niches grow quietly and then suddenly dominate. They don't entertain the surface mind. They speak to the part of you that asks, why do I keep repeating this pattern? Here's the part most people miss. This content is easy to create but hard to fake. Audiences can sense when insight comes from observation versus imitation. You don't need drama. You need clarity. Stoicism aligns well here. It doesn't promise comfort. It offers understanding. And understanding feels like relief. Creators chasing saturation see competition. Strategists see demand density. When many people are confused in the same way, explanation becomes valuable. This is not manipulation for harm. This is education meeting curiosity. But be warned. When you speak about emotions, you carry responsibility. Clarity heals. Carelessness distorts. The reason RPM stays high in this space is simple. Advertisers know that people seeking understanding are closer to decision-making. Chapter 7. You don't need original ideas. You need clear thinking. Let me ask you something that might bruise the ego. Are you trying to be original, or are you trying to be useful? Most creators confuse the two. They chase novelty and ignore clarity. But novelty fades fast. Clarity compounds. History proves this. The same human problems repeat with different costumes. Power, desire, fear, attachment. Machiavelli didn't invent these themes. He organized them. That's why his work still circulates. A learning science study by Mayer in 2021 found that people retain information longer when complex ideas are structured into simple mental models. Not new ideas, better frames. This is where script creation becomes discipline, not creativity. You observe what already works, strip it down to its psychological bones, then rebuild it in your own voice. This is not theft. This is synthesis. Many creators feel guilt here. They shouldn't. Knowledge has always evolved through refinement. The mistake is copying without understanding. Understanding changes the shape naturally. Stoicism values this process. Zeno didn't urge invention. He urged alignment with reality. When something works across cultures and time, it's pointing at a truth worth restating. Translation across languages or formats is an intellectual act. When done with intent, it creates access, not dilution. But here's the warning. If you rush this step, your content will sound hollow. Audiences don't reject recycled ideas. They reject unprocessed ones. So slow down, think, rewrite until it feels obvious. When something feels obvious, it's usually right. Chapter 8. Tools don't create authority. Restraint does. Let me ask you something honest. Do you think a deeper voice makes words heavier? Tools are everywhere now. AI voices, generators, editors that smooth every rough edge. Useful, yes, but weight doesn't come from polish. It comes from intention. A media perception study by NAS in 2017 discovered that audiences attribute authority not to vocal depth or visual quality, but to pacing and certainty. When a message arrives unhurried, the mind leans in. This is where many creators overdo it. Too many cuts, too much motion. They mistake stimulation for engagement, but overstimulation signals insecurity. Foreign audiences, especially, read calm as confidence. Clean visuals, simple transitions, space between ideas, silence where silence belongs. Stoicism respects this. Say less, mean more. Seneca warned that excess weakens force. The same applies to editing. AI tools are fine. Use them, but use them like a craftsman uses a blade. Precise, not wild. A voice should sound like it has already thought through the consequences of what it's saying. There's also a psychological reason minimalism works. A cognitive load study by Sweller in 2020 showed that reduced visual complexity increases message absorption. Less distraction equals deeper processing. This isn't about laziness. It's about respect for the listener's mind. You're not creating content to prove skill. You're creating space for understanding. Chapter 9. Consistency is invisible until it's unstoppable. Ask yourself this. How many times have you measured success by instant feedback? Likes, comments, early views, small sparks that burn fast but die faster. Here's the truth most creators don't face. The algorithm doesn't reward flashes. It rewards rhythm. Not the quantity of uploads alone, but the signal that says this creator will be here tomorrow and the day after. That predictability builds trust with both viewers and machines. A behavioral psychology study by Fogg in 2019 found that habit formation is not motivated by excitement. It is motivated by expectation. People return not because something dazzles them once, but because they know it will reappear. Consistency becomes invisible infrastructure beneath attention. This is why early discouragement feels so sharp. 10 uploads, no traction. You think, I'm doing something wrong. But most of the time, you're only witnessing the lag between signal and recognition. Systems, like humans, need time to trust. Stoicism frames this beautifully. Patience is not passive. It is active endurance. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that growth is cumulative, not explosive. Your discipline compounds silently, quietly. Early results are often shadows of what's coming. Warning, this can feel cruel. Many quit when consistency is invisible. That's why it separates strategists from dreamers. So ask yourself, are you creating videos or are you building momentum? Because momentum doesn't demand applause. It demands presence. And presence, repeated enough times, becomes unstoppable. Chapter 10. Profit isn't luck. It's positioning. Let me ask you the question you've been avoiding. Do you think money is random? It's not. Not really. Revenue isn't a reward for effort or virtue. It's the outcome of alignment. Alignment between your content, your audience, and the system that delivers it. Most creators mistake hustle for strategy. They measure success by uploads or views, ignoring where the economic value actually flows. Here's the uncomfortable part. Geography, audience habits, cultural context, advertiser demand. All of it matters far more than you think. A single well-placed video in the right niche can earn more than dozens in the wrong one. This is not luck. This is positioning. A lesson Sun Tzu would have recognized. Fight where the battle is favorable, not where it is easy. Studies in digital marketing, like those by Goldfarb and Tucker in 2011, confirm that ad revenue is heavily weighted by audience income and intent, not just engagement. Views are meaningless if the system doesn't see value in them. YouTube doesn't cheat. It just assigns worth, and that worth is invisible unless you understand the rules. Here's the critical takeaway. Your first job isn't creating viral content. It's mapping the battlefield, understanding where attention translates to action, and designing every element, topic, style, timing, audience to occupy that space. Philosophy teaches this too. Nietzsche called it the will to power, not raw energy, but strategic energy applied where it multiplies. This might feel cold. It is, but clarity is always cold before it's liberating. So ask yourself, Are you chasing views? Or are you claiming your position? Because once you do, the numbers follow. Not as a gift, not as luck, but as the natural consequence of precision, patience, and understanding. The game was never about effort alone. It was about knowing where to stand, and standing there until the system has no choice but to notice. Thank you very much for watching my video, and please like and subscribe to my channel.